Bioenergetics is for two types of people. Number one, it's a person who wants to level up. They're hitting a certain level of success. Maybe they're plateauing, as they say. Maybe they feel like there's a glass ceiling that they're not just able to break through that extra little bit. Sometimes people experience that little bit of resistance or plateauing as imposter syndrome. Sometimes they experience that as self-sabotage, something like that. If you're experiencing that, then bioenergetics is for you and will help you to get through, to break through that glass ceiling, that little bit left for you to get to the next level. Also, person number two, bioenergetics is also for somebody who's suffering. Maybe they're not at the level of like, okay, I'm just breaking through to the next level. Right now, I'm in a place of suffering. Some people call it things like social anxiety, maybe nice guy, nice girl syndrome, having a tough time with excessive worrying, overthinking things, maybe things like anxiety, depression, anything that's really limiting your life. And the real question to ask is there something in my life that's holding me back? Is there something inside of me that I believe is truly stopping me from hitting what I desire? That's the question. Because up here, that's the issue. There's something internally that's stopping you. And then also down here, living in a trapped, limited type of way where you're not able to go for the career that you want, that you're not trying hard enough to achieve your goals, that you don't even have the belief that you can actually achieve the things that you know that you have the potential for, but you're not actually doing it. Both of those type of people, the interesting thing about it is that when you're trying to grow, when you're trying to go into the next level, when you're trying to break free of these, it always comes down to the same thing. You got to work internally. You can't look externally to see what's going on in there. You work internally. And what happens is that you find out that all of those have the same root. They're the same. They come from the same root into the same tree, and they just come out differently. Different branches, right? You can call it social anxiety, imposter syndrome over here. Then we got self-sabotage over here. We got a little bit of depression, being depressed about being sad, all this type of stuff, right? It's just like, okay, they're little fruits that come from this ultimate root system, this trunk that is shame. Toxic shame. Some people call it toxic shame because it is the most toxic thing for our health, for our happiness, and for our fulfillment in life. It's that shame. And if you don't know what shame is, especially the toxic shame that I'm talking about here, it is that deep, painful feeling. Because it is a feeling inside that you have that makes you feel like you do not belong, where you do not feel at peace or safe within yourself, walking around outside, or even just when you're in silence, you don't feel that peace, that calm. It's that belief that something is wrong in me. Somehow I am flawed in some way, and that makes me unlovable, or it makes me not belong, or unworthy of relationships, unworthy for abundance of wealth, unworthy to even just be and belong. It keeps us small. And if you're still a person that says awful things about yourself in your mind and then believes it, then that's toxic shame. Anything like, she wouldn't like me. Why would I be worthy of him? Who am I to do this? I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough for this. Things like that. If you say that to yourself and it's back there in the back of your mind, this little voice, this little almost quiet voice in the back of your head that's actually very powerful and takes over and causes that self-sabotage. It causes all these things. It causes you to play small and live a small, limited life. If you still have that going on and you believe it, then you have toxic shame. Without a doubt. And that is the root. That is the thing that you have to rip apart, that you have to break free of. And this is the inner journey. This is where the inner journey always leads. This is what they call going to fight the dragon, right? They call this like fighting your devils. And it's important for us to go in deeply and actually have that battle, to have that fight. Because without going into the depth of toxic shame and destroying that, we'll never break free. We'll never break free. We'll just keep finding excuses, or we'll still continue to just talk about our past trauma and our past story, and finding people to blame, and then new people to blame, and new experiences. And everywhere we go, we're just blaming other people and never looking inside. But the truth is that when we finally break free and destroy that toxic shame that's within, then we can start actually living life in a secure way, in a self-confident way, in a way that is assertive, where we can actually start going for our dreams, going for our goals, looking at people as comrades, as potential friends, as helpers, as people that are here that we could have a really good relationship with, you know? Instead of looking at people as competition, or, oh man, that person's gonna judge me, you know, as our judgers, or man, they'll never like me, you know? Instead of looking at people that way, we're changing ourselves, because we have a new self-identity. And that identity is one of security, of self-love, and of accessibility to the opportunities that God or life have to offer us. And it gives us an adventurous, joyous nature, where it's just like, man, anything is possible. Everything is possible for me, except if I don't work on that shame. And we live in a society that tries to teach us strength through suppression. You know, don't feel your sadness. Don't let people know that you're angry. Hide your fears. Hide your insecurities. Pretend they don't exist. And then you'll have strength and resilience. You know, be stoic. Just have this strong, like, hard face, like nothing's bothering me. Just walk around all rigid, like nothing's happening, like I'm a robot. And it's not true. That's the worst thing we can do, because that suppression of this toxic shame and all the stuff that's going on within us is leaving this in the dark. And then the shadows come up. And in the shadows, this toxic shame destroys our ability to live a joyous life, of a life of vitality, of one where we're striving for our goals, where we can have anything that we want, that we can really truly live a life of abundance, of freedom, of confidence in anywhere we go, and with anyone we meet. It's just like, man, I feel secure in myself. And that level of self-love and appreciation allows great relationships to happen. So here is why I created this bioenergetics community, so that we can go into the root together to destroy that toxic shame. That's the most important thing that we can do in our life to transcend and go into the next level. Without breaking that toxic shame, we're going to constantly stay stuck. Either stuck up here or stuck down here, living a low level life. Living in middle management, having a career that doesn't value us, that doesn't give us what we want, living with little money, with no time freedom, with no location freedom, just kind of feeling stuck. You know, maybe not being able to have a good relationship, finding projects as our relationships, you know, finding people that are worse off than we are so that we can help them, so I could feel better about myself. That type of nonsense. Finding relationships that don't really value us. You know, there's many people that live settling for careers, settling for relationships. People are in sexless marriages. People are in relationships that don't give them any love, don't give them any intimacy. People are getting abused left and right, and it's all of this stuff, the shitty careers, the terrible relationships, all come from that inner toxic shame. Because if you don't have that toxic shame, and you do have that strength and that love of self, you would never accept that. And you would be able to say, no, I'm not dealing with that. Cut things out and move forward, looking for your own self-interest. And that's a loving thing to do for yourself. And that's what bioenergetics does. It allows us to go through the pain, the fear, the sadness, the anger, anything that's inside that's holding us back, that we have not released. All those things that have come and stayed in us because of past trauma. Those emotionally damaging situations that we've had. And we've all had our stories. We've all had our stories and we've all had our trauma. So if that hasn't been worked on, all those effects, everything that's still stuck in our bodies, everything that's still stuck in our minds, anything that's stuck in our identity that allows us to feel that toxic shame, that's what we're going to break. That's what we're going to break. And I'm doing this in a 16-week program. I spent years to develop this and put it down into a 16-week program, maybe 20 if you want to take a little bit longer. But the thing is, I don't want people to stay here, to come into bioenergetics and then stay here for life, you know? Because I want you to be empowered, to have that self-security, that self-empowerment to go out and follow your dreams. This isn't like going to a therapist, they charge you money and they keep you coming. They keep you coming and keep you talking. No, you're coming here to make real change. And this is going to be a community of action takers who are coming in for a certain amount of time to come in, do the bioenergetic exercises and transform so that they can leave free, different, changed. In therapy, they call it transference. This is what I'm talking about, where you give your power to somebody else. You transfer your power over to the therapist, like they're your daddy or they're your guru or something like that. You offer them your power, and now you kind of need them. I don't want you to need me. I want you to go through this, transform yourself. Man, go become free. Free yourself of these neurotic holding patterns, of the things that have held you back for so long, either up here or down here. I hope you join us on this journey. A community of action takers. We're going to come here. We're not going to blame. We're not going to be victims. We're going to carry our pain, carry our challenges, carry things that have happened with us, but we're going to carry it with dignity. We're going to carry it with dignity and take life with both hands. We're going to grab life with both hands and transform and change and be like, oh man, I'm going to carry this pain and transform it and use it as fuel for me to transform, to break free of those neurotic holding patterns and then go for what I want. Go for those relationships that I want. Go for that career that I want or that business that I want. Actually do it in real life. Not up here in your fantasy land, but in real life. Start taking steps towards it. That's the goal. That's what we're here for. Big transformations are happening. So I hope you join this community. I made it super, super cheap for people. Come on in. Join us. Be an action taker. Come on in. Click the link below. Join us and transform your life. Peace.